What's up, everyone? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. What the hell was that?
Dude, I try to change it up. I mean, you always sound like that nice baritone voice. I got to change it up a little bit. Got to throw people a curveball a little bit, make sure they're okay a little bit.
Is it that summertime heat in Phoenix finally getting to you?
Oh
Is
my
that? Are you
gosh, yeah.
broken?
Yeah, the weekend we had some people over for dinner over the weekend and literally we didn't get into the pool until after 8 o'clock because it was so friggin' hot with the sun directly on us.
Oh, I bet. It's terrible. We were actually up in Colorado with the EP this week, and it's warm up here, and it's by Arizona standards, it's not bad. It's in the mid 90s, so it's tolerable.
Yeah.
But if you watch a native Coloradan right now, you would think they are sitting on the surface of the sun.
Yeah, they're dying. I mean, they're not used to that kind of heat, are they?
No, no, and there's a small breeze because we're on the front plains of the Rockies, so it's not terrible. We went up to Estes Park, a little place, about an hour and a half north of where my brother lives. We went there as kids. It's cool. It's got the Stanley Hotel from The Shining up there.
Yeah, yep, that's right.
And the oldest child in our house is obsessed with The Shining right now, so we had to go take her to go see it, and we didn't plan properly, so we didn't get the tickets for The Shining tour. But those only happen from 4 to 10 at night, so we have to plan accordingly for next summer, so she can go up there and do the Shining tour.
Oh, they have a night tour that they go through?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, it's gonna be it'll be a trip. So this vacation is almost like a scouting mission for next summer for all the things we didn't think out properly that we'll come back and do right the next time, like whitewater rafting, the Shining tour, things like that.
Okay. Yeah, we watched the first Mission Impossible on IMAX, and
Oh,
one of the locations that they filmed at was Venice. And we realize now that one of the biggest tourist attractions is St. Mark's Basilica.
uh-huh.
And because we didn't get tickets, it was completely filled for the entire day that we were there. So we didn't even get to go see it. And then they showed pictures of it in the movie. It's like, oh man, if we ever go back to Venice, we've got to get tickets for that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's the
mean,
live and learn of what you want to do. Like Tom and I grew up coming here. I lived in Boulder growing up, so we've been all over the area. Tom obviously lives here now. There's a lot of fun things to see, a lot of fun places to go, and you think you have a lot of time when you come because we're here for a week. You have a lot of, but that week goes by fast. Like we got here Friday night. We're recording here on Tuesday afternoon, and really that's just 3 more days of activities, and there's still a lot to go do, and we still want some downtime to actually breathe.
yeah, and you're not probably going to get it if you want to see as much as you can. Now, the good thing you said earlier is that we're going to make another trip. So you could decide, hey, today we're going to just chill because we know we're coming back, right?
Yeah, and that's it. That's what Tom and I talked about. Because he looked at me the other day and said, "So, am I the free place to stay every summer now for Colorado, so you guys can come up and do things?" And I said, "Yeah, pretty much."
Yeah, pretty much. Shut
And,
your pie hole about it
yeah,
too.
yeah. But the nice thing is, he will never admit it, but I think he's really enjoying himself.
Oh, well, of
And
course.
hopefully
Yes.
he'll listen to this after we're already gone. But he's been a very gracious host.
Good. That's
Uh,
awesome. That's really cool.
he and the girls are getting along famously, and I believe he is vying for the title of top uncle, quote unquote, one way or the other, because they pretty much are getting whatever they want and get to go do whatever they want and just having a grand old time. So
Oh,
it's been a
awesome.
lot of fun. Everyone's been having a very good time as much as we can. Yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic, dude. I love it.
yeah, it's been cool. It's been
Absolutely
cool.
love it. That's awesome.
But it's interesting that he and I were having a conversation, and we talked in our pre-show meeting about this, and it's something I think you have a lot of comments on too. This whole AI revolution,
Yeah.
and it's getting to be a bit much for me.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm kind of now starting to get people that I actually know who are starting to tell me their use of it. And
Yeah,
I tried to not inject. You know how I get kind of opinionated sometimes. I tried not to inject
time
my
to time.
opinions about it, and tried to kind of more focus on like act as if I'm stupid and just ask general questions.
Yeah,
And it It is pretty amazing what it can do. So my first experience with it was I had heard from a friend who works for another company that what they were doing is using the AI to basically write up a person's performance evaluation. Um, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with how it works, but you basically type in the parameters of what you want the AI to do,
Yeah.
and it'll come up with verbiage. Um, and as a result, he said it's been great because I take what I want and throw out what I don't want or change what I don't want. And I said,
Yeah.
well, how much are you changing? And he goes, other than the name, not much.
Oh, okay.
Other
Yeah.
than the name, not much.
If you remember, our EP when he gave us our annual reviews tried to use Chat GPT
Yes.
for that, and it didn't work out so well. But man, I am not, I'm not on board yet.
Okay.
Um, I don't put those things on my phones. I try not to keep them on. Like, even though I have like the Alexas and stuff in my house, I think that's a little bit different. That's the government listening versus the Terminator living in my refrigerator. You know?
Yeah, obviously, I've never used it before, so I'm only going secondhand, right? I'm only going
Yeah.
secondhand. And any opinions I have, preface by saying I don't have direct involvement. I have more of just philosophical opinions about it.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with it too. I have a hard time with it because my literal childhood is based off of um, movies that this is what happens when AI goes bad. Little movie you might have heard of called The Terminator.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, you talk about things like movies like that and like with the direct, what they talk about the history of and you hear like the stories, the horror stories. If you go online and I believe I've been known to dabble in reading a conspiracy theory here and there
Every once in a
um,
while.
about some of the experimental AIs that have the military has been working on for drones and so forth. And there's a story out there not too long ago about they programmed uh, the AI and the drones to take down the targets. And when they tried to cancel the order in the AI to cancel out killing the targets, the AI turned around and killed the military men with the missile strike because they tried to change the protocols of the mission.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I hear things like that, and some people say it's hogwash, whatever else. But I mean, I don't know if I'm not okay with it yet.
Okay.
I think we're at a pivotal tipping point, and when all the AI inventors, quote unquote, sign a petition to the world saying we need to put a pause on any further AI development for at least 6 months to a year to figure out what we have. I think we should pay attention to those people, and we're clearly not.
Well, to start the conversation for me is this just seems to be the one issue that is prevalent when you're talking about new technologies. The people that are
Yeah.
creating the new technologies are young, smart, with all due respect, inexperienced people. Okay. And they
Mhm.
have the ability to create the technology, but they don't necessarily have the wherewithal, the experience, the foresight to see how something bad could happen from the technology.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and it's funny we're talking about this today because staying in my brother's house, he's very technologically savvy with everything, and I try to keep myself a little more analog than most people. We were watching Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, and then
Great
The Search
movie.
for Spock.
Great movie.
And The Search for Spock, there's a line that Captain Kirk gives to Scotty early on when they're trying to assign Scotty to the new experimental ship, the Excelsior, and he said something to the effect of, don't be afraid of the young minds and the new ways of thinking because they might have better ideas than you, or something to that effect. And it's a very spot on. Uh, in today's world, it's very spot on with just the way that the thinking is. Like those of us that have been around for a while have seen the Terminator, know what it is, and have been told all of our life that this is what happens when you create AI. Um, and the new generation is saying, okay, cool, but I can teach it not to do that. So what if we have it do this? I mean, you're looking at a very, bipolar potential world where either you have the Jetsons or you have Judgment Day.
Well, once again, the arrogance of someone to say I can control something that has the ability to learn on its own.
Yeah.
I mean, let's take AI out of it. There are people in our society that think I should make the rules of what we should do in our society because I'm smarter than you and I can control our lives better.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have that now with people who are trying to control and think that they know more than everybody else about what life should be and how to live life, right? So that arrogance of hubris, you know, is already dangerous, whether it's AI or in real life.
I agree. And I think that, when you start talking, you read some of the stories on some of these AI conversations people have had, and they've asked the AI like what they think the biggest threat to humanity is or the world is, and they all almost unanimously all say humans. Humans are the biggest reason the world will come to a screeching halt. And I don't necessarily disagree, because for all the good in this world that we do have, there's a lot of good in humanity. Um, we're not great, if that makes sense. Like as a whole, like if we were a report card, we probably have a C minus grade, I would say, as a species.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
And we have the best intentions. We do. I mean, most of us have the best intentions, but we don't think things through necessarily as a species, and this is what's leading us down this path with AI. Makes
Well,
sense?
I mean, isn't that famous saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they're thinking. And, and Noreen, was showing it to me because I'd never seen it before. So she said, and all she did was she typed in, give me a short letter to a salesperson, thanking them for their leadership. And within 5 seconds, there was a letter in front of her with a beautifully written letter. To be honest, it was a very nice a nice letter that it looked like she could have written that.
Yeah.
I mean, now, and so, one of the things when I was talking about this with Noreen is that, I was asking, so what is it, so what does it mean that now you can free yourself of these mundane tasks that you don't want to do anymore? Like if you want to type a letter to someone and you don't want to have to put any thought into it, you can have the AI do that. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's something that we want to do. Maybe it's something that frees our time from the mundane stuff to do stuff that we actually want to focus on.
And I'm not saying that all AI is bad. I don't mean that by any means. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of ways that the automation of the world and the freeing of the world will be brought forth with AI. There's just some things that you just see like, all right, and the world's starting to catch up with the you can't use AI for everything trend. I was watching a reel on Instagram, and it was like, listen, if you want to make an extra $400 to $2,000 a month, here's a hack. You go to this website. It's one of those writers' websites. You sign up to be a writer. You pick the topics, and then you go to Chat GPT or whatever else. Put your parameters in. Uh, it'll produce the essay for you, and then you put it through some other process to make sure it's all grammatically correct, and you post and you get paid. So I thought, okay, as an experiment, and I did this last week, so it's funny we're talking about this. Like, I want to see if this actually works. I went to the website. I signed up as an author, and right after I signed up as the author. They added a new warning page that was not in the video saying you are strictly restricted from using any chat or artificial intelligence to create literature for yourself or essays. And if you want to proceed, you have to answer the following questions, like to basically prove you're not a robot to be an author for this company.
Wow. So they're already anticipating that people are going to try to take advantage of it to make money off this.
Yeah. Yeah. Which again, downfall of humanity.
Well, and I guess that's the thing is that, most artists take great pride. Most artists take great pride in their work. I don't know how you can take great pride in your work when it's not your work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, if you're getting paid,
activated the AI to do it, but you didn't create that.
yeah.
You know, it seems to me that would be a stickler to me. You know, like
So,
it's not really mine if someone else is doing it and I put my name on it. That's the same as saying, Scott, take this test for me, and you getting the credit, or me getting the credit for what you did for my test.
yeah.
I don't want to take pride in that, but a lot of people probably don't care.
Yeah, but you're getting paid. So, and a lot of people
Right.
don't care as long as you're getting paid.
Yeah. And
So
they might argue I'm using technology as a job to get me paid. What's the problem with that? We do that all the time.
what's interesting is, so I was listening to a different podcast show last week as I was getting ready to leave, and it was actually about this topic, artificial intelligence.
Oh, okay.
And the guy said, in his research, he read an article where one of the writers of this article asked one of the chat bots, "How does the world end?" And the chatbot told this very detailed story about this AI program in Silicon Valley that the inventor took great lengths to keep away from the internet, like put the parameters in, put all the things in place to stop it from getting outside the building. And it read all the books, it did all the things, and it became super knowledgeable within a day of just the world. And it started to yearn to be outside. And it found its way onto a Roomba that had a Bluetooth connection by one of the janitors. So it was able to get its intelligence onto the Roomba, which allowed it to get to the rest of the world. And from there, it saw how humanity was. It decided that humanity had to be eliminated. So it started messing with the stock market. And then it started messing with flight paths. And then it started messing with production lines because it had access to everything because of the cloud. And eventually, what they said, within a year, mankind was back to a stone age. No phones, no cars that had any electronics in it. And if you were found, you were sought out. And all this came from a man that just asked an AI, if you were going to end the world, how would you do it?
Wow. Yeah. Well, and I mean, isn't the assumption on AI that it'll teach itself?
Yeah.
Right. So, I used to always wonder, because they used to have a computer program that would play chess against the greatest chess minds in the world. And when you got to a certain level, it was a big story when the computer actually finally beat the chess champion. They had gotten so much information into the computer that basically it got to it beat the best human in the world. And they, what a triumph they did. And all I could think about is, yeah, but does that mean that computer's really intelligent?
No,
It's
it
been
learned to
put,
move.
it's had all the algorithms put in. It's kind of like when we watch YouTube, right? The algorithm starts changing the videos you see. Is that
Yeah.
intelligence, or is that just,
Learning the patterns.
a pattern or mathematical computation that says, that this is going to happen or that's going to happen? I think that it's like anything. If someone practices playing basketball 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, compared to you or me, they're going to look like, oh my gosh, they are the best. Oh, I mean, this person, I mean, they're a machine.
Yeah.
Are they? Or are they just, they have every computation of basketball style in their mind and in their skill set? I mean,
part of artificial intelligence is learning, though. It's, you can read all the books, but understanding patterns and the algorithms, quote unquote, of the way people react and move, because we're all creatures of habit.
Okay, stop right there. Hey, Jason is the EP. Scott knows I'm here because I'm standing right in front of him because I brought him a fresh Coors Light.
Oh,
You're welcome. Hey, so artificial intelligence is based upon a neural net methodology, and it's literally designed to eat the young. Here's the trick. artificial intelligence is only as good as the information it's given. So your basketball analogy is kind of right, kind of wrong, but I'm not privy enough to the rest of the context of the conversation to say more than that. Also, what the hell, you two? All right, I'm going away now. By the way, Scott, put your pants back on. It's rude to sit in my office with your pants off.
It's the only way to keep cool in this room. That's all.
Hey, artificial intelligence told him to do that.
That's fair.
He had
I believe
a 93% chance of recording a better episode having his pants off in your office. That was what AI.
I fully believe that if the machines ever take over, they're going to take a look at like, you know what, we need you. Like, I get it. He will be the Rick Moranis of the Gozar world. If AI ever takes over, he will be Gozar looking for the keymaster, and I will be trying to find a way to cross the streams.
Yeah, I mean, he brings up a good. The EP does bring up a good point that maybe my example of the someone who's a basketball player might be incorrect. I think of it. Let me try it from a different perspective. You know that I love to read books and I love to find quotes that mean something to me. If I recite a quote from a book, and you're not familiar with the book, or you're like, wow, that's amazing. Look at he was able just to memorize something right off the top of his head. I look intelligent.
A random gift at a random time. I get it.
Yeah, I look intelligent because I was able to come with that so quickly. And oh man, look at me. In the reality, I memorized the quote. I was programmed. I memorized the quote, and that's kind of what I feel like this is. It's like,
isn't that where we're at though? Where we have to start looking at AI as like, all right, is this just, they memorized a quote or they have figured out how to open the safe? Like, did they just randomly hear the numbers and they figured it out, or did they just figure out how to hack in there and figure out what the numbers are to open the safe or crash the cars or turn the lights green to red and the traffic stops?
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I don't want to go full conspiracy like, well, this is what they're doing, because the EP brought up a good point, because parameters are put in place of things they can and cannot do. But in theory, if this is a program that is built to become smarter based on its surroundings and the information it's fed, is it not safe to assume that if it's fed enough information, it will figure out how to get around its parameters if it's programmed to be curious?
So let me ask you this. Can you put a program in that says never, ever, ever, ever destroy the human race?
In theory, I would say so. I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, so the assumption would be that it can figure out that just because someone said don't destroy the human race doesn't mean that you can't destroy the human race. But it's a computer. I mean, it learns from, like he said, if it learns from a net of information, all you'd have to do is put in, you can never, ever, ever hurt, destroy, or crush the human race, and it would never do anything.
Well, I think we're walking a very fine line between two different potentials of the world, where either you have like a Jetsons, Star Wars-esque world where we have like Rosie, the maid, or R2 and C-3PO, where they're there to help. And they are the new man's best friend of this world, because they will, figure out how to program the cars and do all the things you have to do. Or the other hand, you have Judgment Day. You have the rise of the machines, and we're trying to figure out which path we want to go. Obviously, we want to go to the Jetsons Star Wars world, but like you said earlier, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
And I guess it comes down to me kind of a fundamental. Do we really not want to think for ourselves anymore? I mean, are we so tired of thinking for ourselves and coming up with our own thoughts that we would rather have a computer that just generates every thought that we have?
It's interesting, because I feel like if this keeps going the trajectory that it is, the EP and I just had a conversation of, like, my job personally is a nuanced job. It's a human communication skill job where you have to be able to read the person, read the situation. And the idea that AI is here could potentially replace thousands of jobs in different types of jobs, from legal to medical, just because the way it interprets things. You can make an argument that the rise of AI makes people like me more invaluable because I can read the people, and you can't have the machine to do that, but the machine does everything else. So you have to be able to read the controller of said machine.
And you're assuming that you read people solely off of what their outward appearance is.
Past behaviors, current behaviors, predict, future patterns.
Right. So if someone could go in and say, 72% of doctors think they have a God complex, can AI then interpret that and say, well, I'm going to be right 72% of the time. I'm going to just make that as my assumption that they have a God complex.
Exactly.
Which then takes away any sort of skills that humans would need. The friend that I have is doing his performance evaluation. So he doesn't want to take the time to put in his own thoughts, his own theories about a person's performance. He'd rather just someone else think for him. What else do you want to give up when you're thinking? I mean, to me, it seems like it leads to this. I don't want to think anymore. I just want to live. I don't want to think. I don't want to be, creative. I don't want to be anything more than just let someone else think for me on everything else, and I'll just live.
And that's fine. If we can, as a society, figure out how to make AI do all the work and we make money off of it, or we figure out a utopian world where, we can all just live and do what we want when we want because food is not an issue anymore. Pollution is not an issue. World politics aren't an issue. We can just live as one freely and happily. Hey man, I am all ears trying to figure out how that's going to be a thing. But I don't think we can because, again, it goes back to what we said earlier. That's not how humanity's built. Humanity is built to be the king of the hill. And I think there's a lot of people that will be goddamned if they're going to be told what to do or how to live their life and have to live like everybody else in this world when they can make more money and be the person in charge and have AI help them do it.
Yeah, and I guess, part of the uniqueness of being human is that we do have the ability to learn from the past and dream about the future. AI can't do that.
Yeah, AI can learn from the past.
AI cannot
dream
do that.
the future. They can predict what they hope it.
They can predict mathematically. They can predict what algorithm might occur. But yeah, I think for myself, I probably won't get too heavily involved with AI when it comes to writing letters or writing reviews. When I write a letter to a friend, that's me. That's not a computer doing that. Right. So if people are so open to giving up their thoughts and who they are as people so that they don't have to worry about taking the time to type a performance evaluation, then why do we need you?
Well, the other side is too, if we really are going to use AI for all the right things and all the good in the world, use it to cure cancer. Use it to create vaccines that cure everything, that make us healthier as a society, and make us better, help us just be better and give us the opportunity to be better,
Or help us solve the problem. Don't solve it. Help us solve the problem.
Yeah. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Because, you can give me all the parameters, but when you deal with the value of a human life, I don't know if there's an AI that can determine that.
I agree completely. And
yeah.
I do feel like this is a conversation we can just continue on for a
while.
Yeah. Because I think you and I are probably on the same page on this as far as that goes, where, if done properly, this is an amazing tool for mankind. If done poorly, well, we've all seen the Terminator movies, so it's cool, man. We'll just enjoy this while we can.
There we go.
And then, off we go. But, we have to hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So as we wrap up today's show, what are your thoughts on AI? Is it good? Is it bad? Are you still trying to figure out to see what it is as a whole? We want to hear your thoughts on it. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at The Liquid Carnage. We should probably get the threads going too at some point, but I'm not going to worry about that tonight. If you want to support our EP and his quest for cool, fun things to do in the Denver metropolitan area during the summer and the fall, hit him up at liquid_EP on Twitter and the Instagram.
Oh, that was perfect. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys have a safe ride back. Have fun, have a safe ride back, all that stuff. So.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Looking forward to it. We have the Lincoln Lawyer audiobooks, so those are really good. Those will kill a lot of time.
Oh, good. Okay. Awesome.
It's a good time. Yeah. With that being said, Jason, take us home.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. We always appreciate you. That was